Your dreams are worth it. The life that you want is worth it. You are worth the work. You're worth putting in the work. You're worth putting in the research. You are worth making sure that you find what works for you. In the last 3 months, I've been able to completely change my life. And I know that probably sounds dramatic. That sounds like a short period of time, but I promise you I have. I'm gonna give you 8 different ways for you to set better goals, turn your dreams into reality, and making sure that it's fun, sustainable, and also it's realistic for your life. Let's understand what a goal is. A goal is just something that you want and you plan to do it in a specific time. The difference between our dreams and our reality is a goal. The goal is the process. The dream is the starting point. The goal is all of the little things that happen, and then we get our reality. So if you want to turn your dreams into reality, you have to focus in the middle. A dream is like, I want to buy a house. A goal is, I want to buy a house in 10 years, or I want to buy a house in a year. I want to lose 50 pounds. That's a dream. A goal is, I want to lose 50 pounds in the next year, in the next 6 months. It's taking your dream and putting a time frame on it and then putting an action plan. And that's what we're going to talk about. What are the things that you can do to create an action plan that will fit your life instead of just doing random things that don't really matter to you and they're not really producing results? And I'm just going to give you some of the things that I did, examples, so that you can really turn your dreams into reality. The first tip in turning your dreams into reality is stop over desiring them. So you have a dream that you're wanting and wanting and wanting. And for a lot of us, that dream stays in the dream state. It just stays there. It doesn't go anywhere. That dream is so strong. It's turning into this burning desire and you want it. But for some reason, you just keep wanting it. You keep wanting it. That's all you do is wanting it, think about it, daydream about it, cry about it, talk about it. And then nothing happens to that dream. For a long time, I thought that I didn't want to lose weight bad enough. I didn't want that bad enough, so I need to keep wanting it. Some of us think that we need to want our goal or want our dream way more. It's not about wanting it. You know you want it. You have cried tears about wanting this. You've cried tears about how you want to move out, how you want to be financially free, how you want to feel sex in your body, how you just want to be able to be mentally healthy. You know what that is like. You got to get yourself out of that state, out of that over desiring, and now we got to move into the action state. The goals are all about taking action. When you say I want something and you start working on it, you're in the goal stage, and then you're going to get to the reality stage. Stop over desiring. Let go of that and tell yourself, I'm done. I want this. I want this bad enough. Some of us desire and want something for 10, 20 years, and then we never have it. All we're doing is wanting it, talking about it. I want that. I want this. I want that kind of house. I want this kind of boyfriend. I want this kind of life. I want that kind of body. And that's all we talk about over and over again. If you've been around someone who just talks and talks and talks and talks and talks about something, but never does anything about it, it's annoying. And just being really real with you, it's annoying. And I realized that I was annoyed with myself. I was like, stop talking about it and just do it. The next tip in how you're going to turn your dreams into reality is start creating emotionally charged goals. I'm going to explain by giving you an example. So one of my goals is to lose 50 pounds. That is a very good goal. Huge distance between where I'm at right now and my 50 pounds. And that in between is scary because we don't know. Our brain doesn't know. It's not familiar with what 50 pounds is. Like that number, your brain just doesn't know that. When you make an emotional goal, you know what that feels like. We can create feelings with just our thoughts. I can sit here and just think about the sun and the beach and I get happy. We create our feelings with our thoughts. So when you create emotionally charged goals, you can visualize it. Your brain will know what that is and your brain is going to be motivated to move towards that. So continuing with my example of losing 50 pounds, turning that goal into an emotionally charged goal is I want to feel sexy in my body. I want to feel light in my body. I want to feel confident in my body. That is the goal. If I went to bed, woke up tomorrow and magically my 50 pounds was gone, what would be the goal after that? What would my life be? That's why we need to create goals that are far more than just a number, far more than just a metric. They are emotionally charged and goals that last longer because feeling sexy lasts longer than 50 pounds. My wife losing 50 pounds is to feel sexy. So I flipped the script. My goal is to feel sexy. The way I'm going to do that is by losing 50 pounds. So flip the script on your goals and sit down with yourself and say, okay, what do I want? I want to make more money. I want to get promoted. I want to move out of my parents' house, or I want to buy a bigger home, or I want to get in a healthy relationship. Why do I want this goal? I want to make more money so I can be financially secure, so I don't have to worry about money and I can just live my life freely. There's more emotion in that. So that's your why. So now make that your goal. My goal is to be financially free. The way I'm going to be financially free is I'm going to X, Y, and Z. I'm going to make more money, or I'm going to take side hustles, or I'm going to invest, like the how. So you take your why, turn that into the goal, and then you make all the other little things the actual action steps. Emotions move us, right? It's an emotion. It gets you into motion. It stirs you up. And when we make emotionally charged goals, it's going to get us moving. It's going to push us to our goal. And that's why this is so key and it works. And that's why for me, I went from I want to lose weight, I want to lose 50 pounds to I want to feel light. I want to feel sexy. I can close my eyes and I can picture that. I can picture me drinking my water every day. I can picture me going on my hot girl walk. And I know, oh my gosh, that's getting me to be more sexy. And that's just motivating. It keeps me going. So the next tip is to do daily doable actions that are going towards your goal. Micro habits, these small things that you do every single day that take you towards your goal. These are the things that are going to compound, and next thing you know, you are living your dream. The way you do this is by taking your goal and start breaking it down into small bits and pieces on the daily. And don't worry about what you're gonna do a month from now. Don't worry about what you're gonna do a week from now. What can I do right now? So you start with one doable action towards your goal every single day. A lot of us go-getters, overachievers, we wanna do 10 things. We're gonna do a million things in a day. We wanna accomplish our goals in one day, but that's not the point. The point is for this to be a process. Do a doable action every single day. What can I do every single day? And the way that I like to set these doable action is by setting them for my worst day. This is how you create consistency. For example, as a woman on my period, that is some of my worst days. I'm moody, I'm more short, I have no cares for anyone, I just want to sleep all day, I just want to cry all day, I just want to yell all day. Like, I'm all over the place. If I set a gigantic doable action for myself that day or that week, it's not gonna happen because my emotions are gonna get in the way. My hormones are all over the place. So for me, my goal is to feel sexy, feel lighter and stronger in my body. The way I'm going to do that is lose 50 pounds. On my worst day, what can I do? I can go on a 5-minute walk. Instead of fast for a long time, on my worst day, I can probably fast for 16 hours instead of the normal 20 hours. Now I know my minimum, the minimum doable action that I gotta do to lose my weight and to really feel sexy is fast a minimum of 16 hours. So I'm gonna do that every single day in the beginning. And that's exactly what I did. I fasted, I had intermittent fasting, I fasted for 16 hours, and I talk about fasting in my video before, so make sure you watch that video. I know for my worst day, I can fast on my period for 16 hours. And then what happens is as you're doing these doable actions, you get better, you get stronger, you start to see yourself save your money more, you be more confident, then you go up to the next level. Now your small actions are turning into bigger actions. Maybe it's not a 5-minute walk. Maybe it's a 10-minute walk. Maybe it's a 20-minute walk. And maybe it's not fasting for 16 hours. For me now, it's fasting for 20 hours. And that's what I've been doing. And now I'm starting to move into a couple of days a week. I'm fasting for 36 hours. When you plan for your worst day, way more sustainable. And also you're doing fun things. For me, fasting is simpler. Like I don't have to worry about food. Like that to me just takes the whole drama of food out of my life. Thank God. Food noise was always my biggest thing. Maybe for you, it's having your it girl salad. I don't know if that's a real thing. You got your feta, you have your greens, you have all the healthy stuff. Maybe it's having that it girl salad once a day or twice a day. Maybe for you, your doable actions to getting your dream home is saving $1 a day or $50 a day, whatever that thing is for you. You have to have doable actions every single day and you plan for your worst day. The next tip is finding genuine inspiration. And this is going to help turn your dreams into reality because it's going to provide you with evidence of what's possible. The biggest thing when it comes to finding inspiration is that you are finding it from people you genuinely are inspired by, not people you're envious of, not influencers that you watch and see and you compare yourself to. And every time you see them, automatically feel you're less than them, you're uglier, you're not there yet. Like if that's the person you're trying to find inspiration from, run away. Stop it. Do not do that. That is not helping you in any way, shape, or form. Do not watch people. Do not follow people that you don't genuinely find inspiration from. And genuine inspiration means, like I said, you're not envious of their life. You literally are like, holy crap, if they can do it, I can do it too. And they motivate you. Every time I'm watching someone's video, whether I'm like cooking or doing something and they're talking and I'm like, preach. And I'm like, that's my girl. Like when someone's preaching to me, I know that's them. When they're speaking the truth and I'm taking it in and I'm genuinely taking that information in, I'm not comparing myself. I'm not using it to either put them down, put myself down, but I'm genuinely taking it in and I'm genuinely using their tips. that is somebody that I want to follow. And for me, I'm going to put you on if you don't even know her. For me, that has been Haley Gamba. I mean, I'm so grateful I found her. I've actually been following her for a long time. I love her content. She's just has grown. And I think for a while, I kind of fell off watching her because some of her content was not relatable to me. I just was not in the same season. Recently, she's been on her health journey. She actually fasts too. Literally gotten a lot of inspiration from her. I've tried some of the stuff that she's tried. I've been inspired by her because she understands what I want. She understands the feeling. She understands how it is to try things and they're not working. She understands how to feel like I have to go to the gym to really love my body. She understands those things and she talked about those things. And I genuinely just, like, I get her. She gets me. And when I watch her videos, I'm motivated. I smile. I don't compare myself to her because we're completely different people. We have completely different personalities. She's getting the results that I want. Her journey is living evidence that when I am on this journey, focused, when I'm consistent, when I take care of myself, when I love myself, I can get what I want. The biggest inspiration that I get from her is how she was able to romanticize this whole journey, how she was able to love herself, care for herself. And I've never been like that. In the past, when it comes to losing weight and anything that has to do with my body, I was always so resistant, so restrained. I was always so ashamed about it. I always felt like I was wrong. I'm wrong for being like this. I'm wrong for not looking a certain way. I never just loved myself throughout the process. And that was always been my goal, is to love myself throughout the process. And watching her do this, watching her talk about her body, just her whole channel, she's always taking care of herself, no matter her size. It's just such an inspiration, and that's the person that I want to follow. So who is that for you? Is it a podcast? Is it a movie? Is it a celebrity? Do you genuinely find inspiration from them? Do you see their life as evidence of what's possible for you? The next tip is tracking your progress. This is such an important part of this journey, tracking your progress. And you're probably like, that's not for me. I used to be like that. Every time I would hear someone say, track your progress, track. I'm like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to do that. I don't need to do that. That's not important. It is very much important. This is where the dopamine comes in. The dopamine that you get from seeing where you were to where you are now, when you see the difference, when you see the results, when you see the before and after, that dopamine, game changer. This will change your goals. When you're turning your dreams into reality, you need to start tracking and seeing the milestones. There's all kinds of ways to track your progress depending on your goal. For example, with my goal of losing weight, feeling sexier in my body, a few ways that I've been tracking my progress. One, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been moving my finger all over the place. It's because my rings don't fit. That's one way that I track my progress. My engagement ring does not fit anymore. My wedding band is now starting to get loose too. This was one of the first signs. I can't wear my rings to the beach anymore. Like they will be gone in the ocean. My clothes is another way for me to track my progress, is certain clothes that were tight, now they're loose. Now they don't fit. The other way that I track my progress is journaling. And it's not physical, but it's emotional. My whole entire struggle with weight and my body and confidence and loving my body, it's always been emotional and mental. It's always been up here. Journaling and putting my thoughts down, that's a way to track where I'm at. I can go back and see, okay, look how depressed I was here. Look how down on myself I was here. The prayers and the thoughts that I processed here, and look where I'm at now, and look how grateful I am, and look how bright I am. I can compare those two things. I do track my weight. I do every other week. So twice a month I weigh myself, and I have constrained myself. I'm not weighing myself more than that. I get scale obsessed. And that's not healthy for me. Tracking your goals has to be healthy and sustainable for you. Is it keeping track of what's in your bank account and maybe checking your bank account once a week? Maybe it's creating a budget and tracking your expenses. Maybe for you is you want to get into a relationship and you want to make sure that you are tracking with the dates that you're going on. Because if you want to get into a relationship, you got to go on more dates. Like, a lot of people think I just like, God's just going to drop him. God may drop the man in front of you, but a lot of times you got to go on dates. Like, it's just what I believe. Going on a bunch of dates and you just want to know, I've gone on these dates, how do I track? Like, am I making any progress to really meeting someone? And that could be tracking your emotions, tracking how you felt after that date. What did that guy say? Praying and just writing down a journal and tracking what God is saying to you about that person. What did you feel? What did God stir in you after that date? You have to be able to keep track of your goals. It's a great motivation, and every time you hit one of your milestones, you get a dopamine rush, and every time you look at your before and after and you just see the change, it's such a great motivation, and it makes the whole process fun, and you're just loving yourself more and more. The next tip is being aware and overcoming self-sabotage. I don't hear a lot of people talk about self-sabotage when it comes to your goals, because self-sabotage self-sabotage is real, it's normal. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Why? Because what happens is when you're moving into change, your survival part of your brain, the oldest part of your brain, likes to be comfortable. It likes to sit on the couch. It likes to be safe. It doesn't want to do anything close to new, because new is dangerous to the brain. Just think about in the caveman world back then, prehistoric, when they had to live in caves and they didn't explore anything but the surroundings. We still have that part of us that protects us. That will always be there. That's survival. It will always be there. So when you're moving into new territory, new goals, you're doing your doable actions every day. They're new. Your brain's like, no, thank you. We don't want to do that. Why don't we just sit on the couch? So it starts to suggest these behaviors that you're used to. Why don't we just sit and watch Netflix? Why don't we just have a drink? We're tired. Let's just have a drink, And it's so innocent. When I'm fasting, it's like, oh, just eat, like you're at work and it's stressful, just eat. Like you're gonna feel better. Like, just eat now. That's the part of our brain that just doesn't want to stay in this uncomfortable state, because change is uncomfortable. The first step in overcoming self-sabotage is being aware that this will happen. It's a natural course of change. And then the next step is taking responsibility for self-sabotage. A lot of us don't want to take responsibility because we don't want to be like, I sabotage myself. Or you overly beat yourself up for doing it. It's not one or the other. It's not, I don't take responsibility or I beat myself up for everything. It's being in the middle. It's taking responsibility and saying, yes, I did that. That was me. Maybe you went out all weekend and spent a lot more money than you thought you would, and your goal of moving out is, it's just a little derailed. Instead of saying, oh, it's my friend wanted to go out and they just, they kept getting drinks, so I just didn't want to feel left out, so I kept getting drinks. Like, okay, that's fine. That happened. So instead of beating yourself up and say, I'm horrible, I will never get there, just, it's fine. Take a deep breath. It's okay. You can forgive yourself. You can show yourself grace. If you can't show yourself grace, God's grace is sufficient for you. God's like, it's fine. As long as you're stumbling forward, you're making progress. That's what matters. Take responsibility. You say, okay, I did that. I decided to go out and have more than 10 drinks, or I decided to overeat. I decided to do that. I decided to get ice cream. I decided to go to Crumble Cookie because their cookies are amazing. Like, I did that, and I take full responsibility, and I forgive myself. But we have to move forward. We have to keep going. My goals are worth the work. I'm worth the work. I'm worth the pain. I'm worth saying no to my friends. My life is worth saying no to them. My life is worth turning around, making a U-turn and going home instead of going to Crumble Cookie. It is worth that. It is in that moment of discomfort. My life is worth that moment of discomfort. Your goals, your life, the desires that you have, the things that God has placed in your heart are worth the hard work. They're worth that moment of discomfort is so much smaller. It is a pin drop in the greater good that will come out of you going after your dreams. So self-sabotage is all about staying in it and saying, you know what, I feel it. I feel that voice telling me to eat. I feel that voice telling me to spend my money. I feel that voice just telling me to just have casual sex instead of really sticking to celibacy like I said I would. That's okay. I can sit in that discomfort. I will be okay on the other side. Self-sabotage is all about wanting pleasure right now instead of sitting through the discomfort and getting to the other side. God literally coached me through this. Like, it's one of the most life-changing moments of my life. I wanted to eat. I was already done. I was done eating. I was probably overeating at that point. And God was like, this is not pleasure. There's more to this. Pleasure is being comfortable in your skin. Pleasure is loving yourself. That's what pleasure is. And I'm not trying to get emotional. He's like, just sit here for a little bit. Sit here for a little bit, just a little longer, just a little longer. And I just sat there a little longer. And next thing I knew, that whole entire desire to self-sabotage myself, to overeat, was gone. And I've held on to that moment. And I'm not saying that I have not self-sabotaged. I have self-sabotaged. I have overeaten. I have binged. I've done it. And you will do it. It's about the 80-20. 80% of the time I'm crushing it. I'm doing it. And life will happen. We get our periods once a month. That's the 20%. It will come. It has happened. But if I create the habit of being aware of self-sabotage and knowing that I'm responsible, and then having grace for myself, and then if I can't have grace for myself, God's grace is sufficient. His grace will pull me. His grace pulls me when I'm in those low places. Ooh. Last but definitely not least is tip number 8, and that is celebrating your success. This is my favorite right now, and also it's the hardest one for me. Just celebrating is like, why? Let's just move on. Like, okay, I did it, but let's go. For me, because I'm an overachiever, I want the next thing. I'm always living in the future. I just don't take time to smell the roses. Naturally, as women, I'm assuming most people who are watching this are women, as women, It's natural for us to not celebrate ourselves enough because we're always doing, we're always moving forward, we're always planning, we're always thinking about other people, we're always nurturing, taking care of. And those are all amazing qualities of who we are, of who God created us to be. But we have to celebrate. And for us, it's not just celebrating ourselves for selfish reasons, it's giving glory to God and saying, God, I'm getting through this. I'm getting through this, Lord. Thank you so much for giving me another chance, for giving me another chance to get through this, to accomplish a desire in my heart. I found that there are a couple ways to celebrate: celebrating in private and celebrating in public. Celebrating in private means celebrating yourself for yourself, not to be seen, not for others to see, just yourself. And that could be in your mind, just saying, you did it. You did this. Look at you go. Or it could be in the mirror, you sitting there and just hyping yourself up and celebrating it and genuinely celebrating it. That's why we have emotionally charged goals, because we feel that emotion. Also, I think it's very important to celebrate in public. I don't mean throw a party. I don't mean, do something extra. What I mean is tell someone else. Tell someone that you trust, someone that will celebrate with you. Because it is very important to have community when we're moving towards our goals. And for me, it's my husband. He has been so excited for me. I remember when I actually lost 10 pounds and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta tell him. And I did. And it was so good because he was so happy for me. He was encouraging. And honestly, I believe when we celebrate, when we are genuinely celebrating our accomplishments because of the hard work we put in it, we can inspire other people. Just to recap, we talked about how to turn your dreams into reality because your dreams are worth it. You are worth it. Every single thing that you want will be yours, and you start taking the steps that are going to work for you. They are based in loving yourself, being genuine with yourself, and actually doing the hard work that it takes, because your dreams and your life are worth it. If you found value in anything that we talked about, if it helped you in any way, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to our lovely growing community, and I'll see you in the next one, my friend. Bye.